too generic to say lights, camera, action when you're talking about a figure that has a camera for the head? I don't know. I guess I just said it. Someone's probably going to let me know down in the comments. But today we're going to take a look at the Fearless Photog from the 30th anniversary series of Masters of the Universe Classics from Mattel. All right, so brief history lesson before we start, as we are one to do on this channel from time to time. Fearless Photog. He is obviously kind of a weird-looking character. He has a camera for the head. You don't see that very often in anything, let alone MOTU. But this character represents something a little unique to the line and something that goes back to the vintage era. So back in '86, there was a contest for fans to create their own character. There were, out of the 5 finalists, Fearless Photog is the winner. Now, at the time, the figure didn't actually get made. It never made its way into the vintage line, but the winner did actually get a lot of cool stuff for it. He was president of Mattel for a day. He got to go to Disneyland. He got a $100,000 college scholarship. You know, pretty awesome stuff for a kid back in the 80s, or now even. That would be just the best. But this figure never made it. And they brought him back for the 30th anniversary line in 2012 for the classics. So, you know, I think that's a cool nod to that original contest, and just, you know, something cool that Mattel could do to bring this character to life after kind of, what, 26 years in limbo, so to speak. So let's, you know, let's take a look at him and see what he's got to offer. So right off the bat, you can see that he has a camera for the head. You know, that's kind of weird. Not something you see in MOTU very often. And the way they shoehorned him into the continuity is that they made this character the apprentice of Gwildor, and his latest creation kind of blows up in his face, and he becomes the Fearless Photog. So he wasn't born this way or anything. He gets to become this way. But the camera is obviously one of the big striking details and kind of the draws of this character, along with that lenticular display on the chest, which I think the power is that he takes his foes' final moments. He like captures them on film, and this is their display. So I guess if he's killing someone, their final moments are shown to them as they're dying. Rather morbid, I'd say, but pretty cool nonetheless. And then one thing to point out real quick before we go over the character in a little more depth is that this guy actually has 2 action features. If you count the lenticular, I mean, it's sort of an action feature. It does something. He has the lens on his camera actually moves. There is a little trigger right here you can push forward, and that pops out. That's pretty cool, especially since, you know, the Classics line isn't known for action features. But as far as the figure itself goes, he's pretty standard. He's normal MOTU Classics. Head is on a ball. Go all the way around. Can't go up and down too far because just of the shape of the head. The arms go out all the way around. Bicep swivel. We've got single jointed elbow and then a rotating wrist. We have got that ab crunch. He goes forward pretty decently and back about the same. And then we've got a waist twist. Legs can go all the way out, so you can get him to do the splits if you want. Thigh swivel. We have got single jointed knee at 90 degrees. And then we have a ankle hinge and not really any rocker, or then there's no boot cut here either. So he's like kind of the basic of the basic when it comes to MOTU articulation. As far as paint goes, you can see there isn't a ton. The big draw for me is the head, because it does have, you know, some accents in that darker blue that you can see there on the little, you know, bits and bobs there. But the overall paint is kind of a pearlescent, steely blue gray kind of color, which looks really cool in contrast to the rest of the figure. And of course the film reels down here have it. They're unfortunately a little sloppy. I've got paint bleed all over the belt on the inside there. It's not a huge deal. You have to kind of be looking at it the right way, but it's obviously there. The chest is molded blue plastic, so are the gloves. And then we've got the main body, the arms and the legs are this black and yellow stripe. And it's okay. The lines are kind of fuzzy, especially on the back. It's not exactly the most clean line. I don't expect it to be, but it's still something to point out. And then, you know, as far as the yellow goes, there is some shading in there. It's not just a flat yellow. There is some, you know, kind of darker, more orangey tones in there to kind of bring out the color. So he may look pretty basic, but he does have some little accents to make him stand out a bit. Now, as far as accessories goes, he has 2. We have got his camera / gun. So this thing actually has quite a bit of detail on it. There's a lot of line work in it. The muzzle of the gun has got, you know, pretty decent amount of detail there. And then there's just a lot of sculpted, you know, bits and bobs and doodads all over it. And there are some paint accents on it as well. The muzzle's not the same color as the rest of the gun. We got yellow and red and some gray all over. So it's pretty cool. And he can hold it just fine. And obviously it fits the character. He's a camera head, so he needs something camera-esque. And then we have his shield, which is kind of like a lens or lens cover. It's got translucent yellow plastic, which is, actually I think it's just translucent plastic, and there's something yellow in the back. Yeah, that's just clear plastic, my mistake. That's just clear plastic, and then there's a yellow backer to make it look yellow. And then we've got those gray accents on there. So kind of basic, but you know, I like it. It looks cool. Fits the color scheme of the character. Fits onto his wrist very well. It's not going anywhere. So he's got two accessories that look cool, and they fit the character really well. Now, overall, I actually like this guy. I think he's a weird, goofy, cool character. I mean, he's not a groundbreaking figure or anything. He's not going to blow your mind in the technical department when it comes to an action figure. But he's cool. He stands out. He's different. I love the fact that this figure finally got made. You know, I mean, it would have just been the coolest thing ever to have your own action figure made as a kid, let alone 20 plus years later when you thought it wasn't ever going to happen. So it's really cool. I love the fact that Mattel did this, and I think they executed it really well. I like the fact that there's an action feature on the head. It's got that cool lenticular display. It's just a cool all-around figure. You know, it's not groundbreaking. It's not you know, it's not gonna blow your mind, but it's really cool. It's got solid articulation, decent sculpt, and I don't really have any issues with it. It's just a cool little character. So that's going to do it for this review, everyone. As always, stay tuned to Toy Bro for more reviews. Feel free to let me know down in the comments what you think of this guy. Like, comment, and subscribe, the whole deal. And until next time.